Most people will tell you a shady balcony is a dead zone, that without hours of direct sun, you can't grow real food. They're wrong, and it's not even close. The opposite is true. Direct sun ruins most of the vegetables on this list. It scorches the leaves, turns them tough and bitter, and makes them bolt to seed in a week. Shade isn't a problem to work around, it's the cheat code. These 15 crops are cyophytes, built by evolution to thrive on the weak, indirect light that bounces around a shaded balcony, a north-facing window, even a dark kitchen corner. One tastes like authentic Japanese wasabi and isn't wasabi. One grows from a knob off your grocery shelf in your darkest corner, and full sun would kill it in days. The number one spot grows on your kitchen counter in a dark room with zero window light, ready to eat in under 2 weeks. And at the end, a free trick that doubles the usable light on any balcony: no grow light. If your balcony's stuck in shadow, this video turns it into a pantry. Let's count down. Number 15. Swiss chard, the crop that turns low light into a light trap. Give it a pot 8 to 10 inches deep, and it produces all year, fastest in the cooler months. Here's what shade does to it. Starved of direct light, chard expands its leaves, broader and thinner, to catch every weak photon that drifts past. As it stretches, it floods its stems with pigments called betalains, and they light up in ruby red, neon yellow, and electric orange. Chard needs as little as 3 to 4 hours of indirect light to hit peak yield, and the shade does it a favor, because the direct sun it's avoiding would scorch those leaves leathery and tough. Number 14 treats a north-facing balcony not as a limitation, but a luxury suite. Number 14, bok choy, the crisp Asian green that's almost impossible to fail in shade. A shallow planter 6 to 8 inches deep is plenty, and a north or east-facing balcony is ideal. The counterintuitive part: bok choy is a brassica, and in direct sun the heat cooks the soil in its pot and triggers a panic response. It bolts, throws up a flower stalk, turns woody, and goes savagely bitter. Shade keeps the soil cool and the air humid, so instead of bolting it stays thick, succulent and crisp. The same shade that feels like a handicap is what guarantees a sweet, market-quality harvest, with no drop in vitamin C. Number 13 gets tastier the less sun it sees. Number 13, arugula. This one gets better in the dark, not just bigger. Its roots are shallow and wide, so a simple 6-inch window box works, and you can sow a fresh pinch of seed every 2 weeks for a year-round supply. That peppery bite comes from compounds called isothiocyanates, and here's the trick. Under blazing sun the plant overproduces them, turning the leaves harsh, bitter and tough. In shade that chemical factory slows down, and the leaves come out tender and balanced. Shade also delays bolting. It can extend your harvest window by up to 200%, months of gourmet greens before the plant tries to flower. Number 12 doesn't just tolerate a dark, damp corner, it considers it paradise. Number 12, watercress, a plant that actively despises the sun. Use the genius apartment method. Take a container with no drainage holes, fill it with potting mix, and keep it permanently saturated. A dark corner or even a bathroom windowsill is perfect. Watercress is a true cyophyte, and to see why, look at where it's from. The floor of dense forests, rooted in cold mud along heavily shaded streams. It photosynthesizes on diffused indirect light alone, and direct sun burns its delicate leaves on contact. Flood a drainage-free pot in your darkest spot, and you recreate its native forest floor, delivering some of the highest nutrient per calorie density of any green on earth, iron and calcium included, hidden from the sun. Number 11 dominates the shade by going underground. Number 11, mint, the herb that treats a dark, covered balcony like a kingdom. Give it a wide pot at least 8 inches deep, and always grow it alone, because its roots strangle anything beside them. Most Mediterranean herbs, rosemary, thyme, need blazing sun to build their oils, and they fail in shade. Mint is the opposite. In full sun, high-rise wind dries its soil out in hours and the roots die. In shade, the soil holds moisture, and that triggers Mint's real weapon, an aggressive underground network of runners called stolons that throw up a dense carpet of leaves, zero direct sun required. The cool, shaded root zone keeps it pushing fresh, oil-rich leaves instead of woody stems. That's our first 5 shade survivors. Now we break into the top 10, where it gets strange. Coming up, a green that mimics Japanese wasabi without a drop of wasabi, an ancient root that grows in less light than reaches a rainforest floor, and a #1 crop so independent of the sun it grows in a dark room in under 2 weeks. Quick question, out of those first 5, which one are you going to try? Drop it in the comments, I read every one. Now, number 10. Number 10, chives, intense onion flavor with zero demand for sun. A standard pot 8 inches deep is all they need, and you harvest by cutting the leaves to the soil line, over and over all year. Regular onions need long hours of intense sun to build a bulb underground. Starve them of light, and you get nothing but weak threads. Chives skip that entirely. They don't waste energy on a bulb. Every bit of nutrition funnels into thin, hollow, vertical leaves, which is why they tolerate a 60 to 70% cut in light without losing vigor. And no harsh sun keeps the leaves from turning tough and stringy. You get a tender, delicate onion flavor. Number 9 looks prehistoric and works like a solar panel bolted to a shaded wall. Number 9, Lovage, a towering prehistoric-looking perennial that's a light harvesting machine. It builds a woody taproot, so give it a deep container, 10 to 12 inches, plant it once, and it returns every year. Its secret is architecture, huge, deeply divided leaves with enormous surface area, angled to catch the weak, indirect light bouncing off the concrete walls around you. It tastes like intense celery and holds that robust, essential oil flavor even in permanent partial shade, flatly superior to the Mediterranean herbs that collapse without full sun. Number 8 is a vegetable most people kill in the sun without knowing why. Number 8, celery, where shade is the difference between crisp and inedible. It demands constant moisture, so use a deep pot, at least 10 inches, and sow it in the cool of autumn or winter. Here's why it fails for most people. In open sun, the soil in a pot dries instantly, and thirsty celery turns hollow, stringy and bitter. Shade does exactly what celery wants. It keeps the soil consistently damp and drops the temperature around the leaves, so the water channels inside each rib stay full. Grown in partial shade, celery makes far fewer bitter defense compounds and develops a softer fiber. It comes out noticeably crisper, juicier, and sweeter than anything on a grocery shelf. Number 7 uses the shade to freeze its own death clock. Number 7, cilantro. Shade hands you a pause button on its biggest flaw. A long, shallow window box, 6 to 8 inches deep, is ideal on any shaded sill, any time of year. Every gardener knows the heartbreak. You buy a healthy plant, set it in a sunny window, and within 2 weeks it shoots up, flowers, turns woody and dies. That's bolting, triggered by heat and strong UV. Put cilantro in permanent shade, and you trick it into thinking it's living in a cool, endless early spring, so it stays leafy and keeps pushing dense green rosettes instead of racing to seed. Done right, shade extends its leaf harvest by up to 300%. Number 6 survives the dark using pure, deep pigment. Number 6, Lacinato kale, also called dinosaur kale, a heavy-yielding superfood built for low light. It's big, so give it a sturdy container 10 to 12 inches deep and plant it from late summer through winter. There's a myth that all heavy brassicas need full sun, true for a tight cabbage head, false for kale, because you harvest open leaves. Look at Lacinato's foliage, so dark it's almost black, and that's the giveaway. That deep blue-green comes from an intense concentration of chlorophyll A and B, and in plant physics, a darker leaf is tuned to absorb a wider spectrum of light, squeezing energy from weak indirect light. It grows steadily on as little as 3 hours of indirect light a day, and slower growth in shade means more tender leaves. Now the top 5, the elite of low-light crops, including a rare Japanese heirloom and a root that grows in near darkness. Number 5, Radicchio. the elegant Italian chicory that uses shade to protect its color and crunch. Give each plant its own 8-inch pot for airflow and start it in late summer as the days shorten. Radicchio is tough chicory, and its quirk is a high sensitivity to sunlight. In full sun, the outer leaves sun-scald, turn leathery, and go overwhelmingly bitter. Shade acts as a natural blanching blanket. It keeps the outer leaves tender and protects the tight head forming inside, letting the inner leaves develop that striking burgundy red streaked with snow-white veins. Chicory hits its finest, mildly bitter gourmet crunch only when shielded from direct UV, which makes a dark, covered balcony perfect for it. Number 4 is a food factory you plant once and harvest for years. Number 4. Sorrel, a permanent, perennial green that shrugs off the dark. It runs a deep taproot, so use a pot at least 12 inches deep, plant it once in a shaded corner, and harvest for years without replanting. This sharp lemony green has a trick. Put it in low light and it triggers a response called shade avoidance elongation. Instead of stunting, it lengthens its stems and expands its leaf blades, reaching for light, which, for you, means more harvestable greens purely because it's in shade. And it keeps its clean, citrus-sharp flavor from natural oxalic acid most consistently out of direct sunlight, which also stops the leaves turning tough and woody. Number 3 treats direct sunlight as a death sentence. Number 3. Ginger, and you start it from a knob off the grocery shelf in the darkest corner you own. Ginger spreads sideways, so use a wide, shallow pot about 10 inches deep, plant the rhizome in early spring, and leave it alone in the shade. To grow it, know where it's from, the bottom layer of tropical rainforests, under a canopy so dense that less than 10% of daylight reaches the ground. Put ginger on a bright, south-facing balcony and its leaves bleach and die within days. The darkest, most neglected corner of your space is its paradise. It hits maximum efficiency under 50 to 70% permanent shade, quietly fattening its aromatic rhizomes underground. It's the perfect long-term high-value root crop for a covered balcony. Number 2 tastes like real Japanese wasabi, with no wasabi in it. Number 2. Wasabi mustard, known as wasabi ni, a Japanese heirloom that needs the dark to build its flavor. It's compact, so standard 8-inch pots or window boxes are fine, sown anytime from early autumn to late spring. If you love that sharp nose-clearing wasabi kick but can't grow the notoriously impossible real wasabi root, this leafy green is your shortcut. Its heat comes from defense compounds called glucosinolates, and in direct sun, high soil temperatures send them into overdrive, making the leaves tough and bitter. Shade keeps it controlled, it slows the leaves aging, and lets the glucosinolates develop a clean, crisp, spicy bite that mimics wasabi without the bitterness. You get a high yield of deeply ruffled, frilly leaves that punch real wasabi heat into a salad. And number 1 needs no balcony, no yard, and not one ray of sun. And number 1, microgreens, the ultimate low-light crop because they cut the sun out entirely. The setup is the smallest on the list, a shallow tray 2 inches deep, a thin layer of damp coconut coir, or even a wet paper towel, grown indoors 365 days a year, on a kitchen counter, a bookshelf, deep in a dark room. Here's why they don't need light. Microgreens are seedlings harvested just 7 to 14 days after they sprout, and at that stage they aren't living on photosynthesis at all. They run entirely on the concentrated food packed inside the seed. They're self-powered, they grow lush and green on nothing but the ambient light of a room, and they're no compromise. Microgreens can carry up to 40 times the vitamins and nutrients of the same plant fully grown. They bypass space, weather, and the sun completely, the undisputed king of low-light growing. Before we finish, here's the free trick I promised, the one that doubles the light on any shaded balcony. The light reflection technique. On a shaded balcony, direct sun is blocked, but indirect, ambient light is constantly bouncing around, and dark brick or gray concrete walls just swallow it and waste it. So turn your walls into a mirror. Paint them a clean matte white or line the space behind your plant shelves with cheap reflective mylar, the same material as an emergency space blanket. That bright surface catches the scattered light and bounces it straight back onto your leaves. You're recycling light that was being wasted, concentrating it onto your pots, and giving your shade lovers a real metabolic boost for almost nothing. So here's the truth: the idea that you need a big sun-drenched backyard to grow your own food is just wrong. Urban growing isn't about fighting your building, it's about choosing crops built for the shadows and letting biology do the work. Pick just one this weekend: chard on a sill, mint in a corner, microgreens on the counter, and watch how easy it is. And if you want the next piece, picking the right plant is only half of it. The next video in this series breaks down 10 proven, science-backed tricks to double the harvest from any container, the difference between a few weeks of food and a balcony that feeds you for months. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Tell me in the comments which of these 15 you're planting first, and I'll see you in the next